Check out the Offtopia podcast where we discuss art, music, and writing. The show is available on all major platforms, and consider joining our Discord and meeting our community. Offtopia. Can't stop, won't stop.
This podcast contains strong language and adult situations and may not be suitable for those who are easily offended.
Welcome to Fuck My Work Life's Afternoon Break, a quick getaway from your daily grind. Step away from whatever you're doing, grab your favorite beverage, put your feet up, and enjoy.
Hey fuckers, welcome to the afternoon break. I'm Jay.
And I'm Kay. And today's special guest with us is Matt from the Decayin With the Boys podcast. Hi, Matt.
Hello, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you guys so much for letting me come on this podcast. It is one of my favorite podcasts to listen to. It gets me through my week, that's for sure. Just hearing the zany stories that other people submit and the things that are going on, it makes me feel a little better about what happens at my job.
That was kind of the point of it. So good. Yeah. I'm glad it's serving its purpose.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. So why don't you tell everybody about your podcast?
So it's myself and my buddy Adam. We are a combat sports focused podcast. So we talk about everything from professional wrestling to MMA, everything in between. And then we'll do some pop culture breakdowns. We'll talk about horror movies. But the very core of everything, it's all about beer. Adam is a really skilled brewer. He's been in collaborations with big breweries all across Pennsylvania, most notably coming up Leaning Cask. They're gonna brew up a beer for a big convention here in Pittsburgh. I'm just happy to be a part of that. So we focus on local craft beer in every episode, and we try to bring home brewers and professional brewers on and talk to them about combat sports and confuse the shit out of them. So it's fun.
And you assist with the brewing too, right?
Yeah. So I assist. So Adam shows me as much as he possibly can. When it boils down to it, it's at like 180 degrees in there, very close quarters, and it's just two big dudes. We just can't bump into each other. So I've taken more of the organization and cleanup side of things. So I let him be the mastermind, the brains. I light all the fires and I clean up all the messes, and I learn as we go. So I do know how to do some stuff, but you couldn't leave me alone and brew beer.
Yeah.
So do you homebrew at all for yourself or?
No. So unfortunately with, the podcasting and the full-time job and the kids and all the other stuff, if I try to squeeze one more thing in here, I might not have to worry about having full-time kids and a full-time marriage because some things will get taken place of.
Yeah. That makes total sense. I've wanted to try homebrewing, but it seems very daunting.
Well, I would say if you want to homebrew, it's not that crazy anymore. You can do it's all in levels. You can brew in a bag, which is pretty simple. Uses a bunch of extracts and some high temperatures on the top of your oven, or you can start working towards like plastic fermenters and things like that, staying still under about $100 to do everything. Get about a 5-gallon batch, and the recipes are pretty much preset for you. So all you gotta do is just pay attention for the most part on those ones. So you could do it.
Is there a recipe for Coors Light?
I will tell you my recipe for Coors Light, but I know how much you like it, so I can't do that.
Just the lightest.
Oh, what is it? Like pee in water and then drink it, and you'll be good.
No, you yell racist things at water until it turns colder than the mountains, and then you can put it in bottles.
Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. I've been doing that for years, man.
Jesus.
Are you the head brewer of Coors?
Yeah. So on that note, I heard you got some good work stories for us.
I do. So I have been in the public service field for 15 years now, and I've done it at every level: local, state, federal. I really enjoy helping people, but it's just like driving a car. If you drive a car so often, you eventually see a wreck. Just probability statistics.
Yeah.
So when you work with people that are in some of the most, rough times of their lives, you're going to see some stuff, some things are going to happen. You're going to be around things. And that's where a lot of my stories come from. And one of my favorite stories that I can now tell, because there's like tons of time from there, because a lot of this takes a lot of confidentiality. But this one, I love this one. So I was a mental health case manager in a very small county here in Pennsylvania. I have a big background in substance abuse treatments and mental health treatment. And I really love both those populations. This job was like a no-brainer. I'm definitely down for this one. So I was a forensic case manager, and I had a gentleman who called me like just freaking out. He's like, Matt, I got a DUI last night. I have to appear for a formal arraignment this morning. It's going to be at the magistrate at the small town. All right, I got you, man. You need a ride, don't you? He's like, yeah, I need a ride. I need a tie. I need a suit. I was like, I got you, man. I'll take care of you. So I got everything together. I drove. It's like an hour and a half to get to his house from where I'm at.
Oh, wow.
Pick him up, put him in my car. We're driving. He's freaking out the whole time. I'm going to go to jail. I fucked up so bad. It's like, no, man, listen, you're with me. We have a good solid game plan. Let's just work this out. We'll just share with the judge what we've been up to. All right, man, cool. We get to this courthouse, and it's just exactly what you think it is in rural Pennsylvania. It's a street with no houses on it, a couple trees, and then a magistrate's building. Just smack dab there. And it's like, it must be the only thing in this town because the parking lot is huge and everything's well manicured. So all that town's tax money went to just that building. So we get into this little building, and they check you in, pat you down, do the whole 9 yards. And I'm sitting there with this guy, and we're talking back and forth. He's still freaking out. And a bailiff pokes his head out, and he goes, Matt Anderson. And I was like, oh, maybe the judge wants to talk to me first because he knows that I'm here because I signed in on the witness sheet. Maybe he wants to talk to me first. So I go in, and the bailiff stops me before I can come through the aisle. And I was like, all right, man, pretty nice outside the door there. And all of a sudden you're stopping me. All right, cool. You sit right there. I didn't know anything about a courtroom at this point. So I just sat down where he told me to sit down. It's cool, man. I got you. Why you look so pissed? You want to hug it out? Like, I don't know what's going on. So I'm sitting there, and judge comes out. All rise. Everyone has to step up, and we're all like the Pledge of Allegiance, like we're back in grade school. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And he's like, everyone sit down except for you. And he points at me real sternly. I'm maybe 22, 23 years old.
Oh my
and
God.
I have a pull of paralysis in my stomach. Just like what is happening? And I'm wearing my nicest suit that I borrowed from my uncle because that's what I could afford at the time. And he's like, what do you have to say for yourself before we even get started here? And I was like, well, I went to college at Waynesburg. And he's like, so you went to school and you put on a suit, and we're not going to pretend like you've endangered entire communities with your disregard for human health and respect. And I'm like, and in my brain, I'm going, what the fuck is going on right now? I don't.
Yeah.
So finally, I work up enough courage as early 20-something. And I was like, Your Honor, I just have to know, what exactly did I do to deserve this talking to I'm getting right now? And he's like, it's a guy like you who puts on a suit and comes in here and tries to pretend like you're not driving your car, blowing a 2.5, rushing through stoplights, hitting curbs, hitting into other buildings, hitting into other cars, and you're going to get away with it because you wear a suit? Pathetic. I was like,
Oh,
I know what you did.
yeah. And I was like, oh no, did I do that? And then like the Steve Urkel moment, did I do that? Like, did I actually do that? And I was like, sir, I think you may have the wrong person. He's like, is your name Matt Anderson? I'm like, yeah, Matthew Anderson. Is it Matthew Alexander Anderson? Said, no, Matthew Paul Anderson. He's like, show me your license. Bust it out, hand it to him. He's reading my address and he's comparing it to the docket sheet, and he just goes, oh, fuck. Like, on record. He's like, he can't even wait. He's like, get out of the courtroom right now. Just get out of here. I rush out. I'm sweating. I have full sweat pouring down my face. The guy that I've calmed down for hours, sees me pop out, and he's like, what the fuck happened? I was like, I don't want to go back in there, man.
Dude, don't go in there, man. You're fucked,
safe.
man.
It's not safe.
Don't go in there. So the bailiff comes back out, way nicer than the first time. He's like, let me talk to you real quick. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm still kind of nervous. He shows me the sheet, and it says the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania versus Matthew A. Anderson on the docket sheet. And the charges I got to read were like, it was DUI, third offense, fleeing and eluding, high rate of speed. It was just dangerous charges and allegations. And I was like, that is not me. There's no way that's me. Yeah. But I leaned into my guy and I was like, I think I got most of the heat off of you, man. So your hearing should be cool. Like, we should be fine.
I thought for sure when you started this story, I started to smile at one point. I was like, oh, he signed the wrong part of the paper. And they thought that he was there with this guy, but he was actually that guy.
Yeah.
It sounds like they just completely fucked up.
Wait, or was there somebody with your same name there being charged that day?
Yeah.
Well, with a different middle name.
Right.
Yeah. So that guy, I guess, must have showed up later because we were there for a 9 a.m. hearing. So, and looking back, I couldn't even tell you what time that other hearing was, but I signed in, did what I was supposed to do, and I'm sitting with this guy and trying to calm him down.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, I'm shitting myself.
Yeah. And the judge tried to come out and talk to me afterwards, and I was just, I was like a puppy who got hit with a newspaper too many times. I was just like flinching. I was like, yes, sir. Okay, thank you. I was maybe, I don't know, 6 months out of undergrad, so I was brand new out the box. I just got done working at Fox's Pizza. Like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, man.
That is insane. Oh, my God.
And the reason why I can talk about that one is because the guy that I was with, I kept in touch with him. He's one of the few that I kept in touch with over these years. And that was, I'm 36 now, so what was that, 13 years ago? He's doing really well. And he's clean, sober. He's got a wife, kids, great house. He moved out of Pennsylvania, smart move. And he's doing really well, and that was a victory for me because I think that day I made sure that he didn't get yelled at as bad as I got yelled at. So
all the heat off of him.
Yeah,
I took that one on the chin for him.
So I heard that you have a story about chopping people up.
Close.
Oh, close. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You got some words in there. So Russian chop shop. Again, working with the public, I did another job where I was helping individuals that were incarcerated, and I would put together a treatment plan for them, whatever their needs were, through like multiple assessments. And I would get them out of jail so they weren't sitting there doing nothing, and they would engage with meaningful treatment and find employment. And it would actually satisfy their probation as well, which was really nice. So I worked alongside a lot of agencies, and like anything else, the job was pretty overwhelming. So I had worked there for over a year and a half, helped a lot of people, but it was time for me to do something else that wasn't burning me out like a broken Christmas light. So I had to move on to the next thing. But I was wrapping a lot of things up, and one of the things I like to do, and it was like for my own mental health, I would like to drive around one day out of the week, and I would pay rent for 3-quarter houses for people that were staying there, to make sure they didn't have the burden of trying to find that for themselves until they got like a steady job. So there was a great place, and I was friends with the owner of this one 3-quarter house. And of course for, anonymity and everything, I can't say his name. So let's just call him John. So John and I had known each other before I even did that job. And I said, hey, John, I'm swinging through to pay rent for these two guys. I'm going to come by around like 2 or whatever. And it's my last day working at this job. I am doing this, and I'm going to turn in my swipe card and everything, and I'm going to a happy hour for my send off into the great unknown. And so I was like, I'll get there a little earlier. I'll go for noon. There's a great spot to get food. So I was like, I'll go there afterwards. So pull up this house, talk to these two guys, 2 young kids, and I'm, tell them like, hey, I'm out of here. It's my last day, blah, blah, blah. Cool. Hey, John, here are the checks. I'll see you, man. I go outside, I'm like, I'm going to throw on some death metal, roll the windows down, go get a sandwich. This is going to be awesome. And I go turn my car over and just and it won't turn. Just click, 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 click. I'm like, shit, my battery. And then the other part of my brain goes, nah, dude, it tried to turn over. It's something else. So I try to tinker with myself, realize it's way out of my league. John comes out of the 3/4 house. He goes, sounds like your fuel injector's broken, man. I heard it inside the house. I'm like, how the fuck do you know that? He's like, I just heard it. I was like, cool, man. All right, so do you know any tow trucks? He goes, I got a guy. Yeah, just hang out, man, and I'll get you towed to a shop that I use from all my fleet cars. So, okay, that's cool, man. So maybe 10 minutes, this tow truck screeches to a halt in front of my car. Guy comes out. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? How are you? Doesn't say a word to me. Just stoic. No look on his, just like completely plain look on his face. All right, cool. I have a serial killer for a tow truck driver. This is awesome. So I'm like, hey, man, do you want me to ride in the cab? Do you want me to ride in the car? He's like, cab. Cool. I'll get in the cab. So I'm riding. I'm like, hey, man, where are we going? So I could text my wife, and he just won't answer me. He's just driving. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die, man. Like, this guy's not even making eye contact with me. I just need to know where I'm going. So he takes me, I don't know, 15 miles away from where I was easily. And I pull up to what looks like an old, like, Midas store. There's Midas, like, and they ripped the letters out. So only, like, the silhouette was left on top. So I show up, and there's just, like, pieces of cars everywhere. And I was like, man, these guys stay pretty busy. This is awesome, man. Like, they must know what they're doing. There's lots of business here. I walk in, and the tow truck driver's like, tell them John sent you. I said, okay, I'll do that. I walk in. There's a guy behind the counter, and he's just sitting there staring at me as I come through the door. And I was like, hey, man, how's it going? John sent me. Did he call you? And the guy just stands up and starts yelling in Russian, just screaming at me in Russian. And I know some Dora the Explorer level Spanish. I don't know shit for Russian, but I can identify Russian. I'm like, I don't know. John sent me, and he's just yelling. A young kid comes around the corner, maybe half that guy's age, like a younger guy. He comes around, he's like, Dad, stop. This is John's friend. John sent him, like, his car's broken. Fast forward to them pushing my car into the slats and putting it up. He comes back out. The old guy comes back out. And all of a sudden now he knows enough to give me price points. And he goes, he's like, fuel injector. No good. Replace whole thing. I was like, well, yeah. I mean, if that's how the car works, then I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. He's like, $4,000.
Oh.
I was like, what? I was like, and like, just shocked me. I was making no money. I don't have $4,000 now. And I was like, hey, man, do you do payment plans? Like, can I like pay like as much as I can up front? He goes, $3,000? Three? We go back and forth on this I don't have enough money thing until he gets it down to about $900 to $1,000.
Oh my God.
I text my girlfriend at the time, now wife, and I was like, honey, can I borrow $1,000? She's like, yeah, sure. And she puts it, just wires it over to me. I pay this guy, and he goes, yeah, half hour. I was like, half an hour for a fuel injector system? Okay, cool. A car screeches up. Guy comes out with a cardboard box with like packing tape around it. He runs in, hands over to the guy. That's my fuel injector. It came from somewhere because I was driving a Sebring. He just like hands in this box. I see them open it, and then he goes, go do something. I'm like, what? What do I go do? There's nothing around here. And then I proceeded to watch 4 or 5 Russian guys NASCAR pit stop. That it was like zip, fuel, boom, 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 done. Puts it down, rolls it out, and he's like, we topped off fluids, good. Tell John I said hi. I got back in time for 5 o'clock to turn in my swipe card and all my shit. And everyone was like, how was your last day? I was like, fucking unbelievable. Absolutely. I need all the beers. Give me all the beers.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It reminded me of like a TV show, like some sort of like.
That story has so much more to it as well. Like it was just like the dad wanted to fight for sure. We had to call John on the phone. All of a sudden, John knows Russian, just jibber jabber and Russian back. There are so many more elements to it that I wanted to make sure I didn't I pared it down. It was nuts.
That's crazy.
I got home and told my wife, I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to not. If this is the Matrix, I am rebooted right now. I should have died back there, and I'm plugged back in now. I'm frightened. It was nuts.
And how does John know this guy? Because
John likes to have his fleet cars in tip-top shape, and if you can get a whole fuel injector system from the shop, oh goodness!
There's some poor Sebring on the side of the road that's missing their whole fuel injector system.
Absolutely, that guy just has like broken boxes back. He's like, "This is mine now." Just took it.
That's awesome.
Oh my goodness! Oh yeah, that job was nuts. I was getting people out of jail at least twice a week and just taking them to like inpatient and all kinds. It was a great job. I really loved it. But the pay was awful. You couldn't make a living off that. It was too much.
Go work back at the pizza place, man.
Dude, the pizza place, I got into a fight with a cokehead in my store. That was awesome. Guy was smoking crack out by our dumpster, and I was throwing shit away. And he was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Ah!" He ran through the back door with me, and we got into a back and forth. I'm yelling for my buddy Sean. I'm like, "Sean, please help me, God Christ!"
That's awesome. I'm gonna put that story in though.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going in.
Well, thank you so much, Matt, for sharing your stories with us today.
Much.
Why don't you let everyone know where they can find you and your podcast?
Wonderful. Yes. We are at Decayin WTB on all social media. That's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can email us at decayinwtb@gmail.com. We have everything else too, the Redbubble, where you can get dad hats for $19.52. And we are doing a charity event right now, just to plug it if I can, because you guys are awesome. And I know your listeners will be awesome too. We're doing Make Peace, Not War. We brewed up a cream ale, and it has special labels from Hoot Design and First Sip Brewbox. And it's hard for us to deliver beer out to some fans outside of Pennsylvania, but you can donate. So if you want to search that out, just get on us with Decayin WTB, and you can find out how to donate to support for the Ukrainian refugees and an animal shelter that we're pouring a bunch of money into with the beer sales.
Nice.
Very cool. I'll steal that link from you and put it in our show notes too.
Definitely.
For this.
Thank you.
And I kind of want some of the beer. I don't give a shit if it's flat by the time it gets here.
I think there's laws, right? Like Pennsylvania has crazy alcohol laws and stuff.
Yeah. They're holding us down, man.
Damn you, Pennsylvania.
It's bullshit. I want some of the beer. Just wrap it in a t-shirt and say you're sending us a shirt. It'll be good.
Well, I know you guys on your podcast, like when you talk about like the brews that you've got going, I'm like, I want to try that. That sounds really good. I want to try that one.
It's and then and the cool thing too is we make friends with a bunch of other brewers. Like this guy, Cellar Works. This is 50-foot robot, so it's a double hazy IPA. Just makes incredible stuff. That's the good side of the podcast. We make friends with a lot of these other brewers, and they like us enough to want us to review their beers, so they hook us up. It's pretty nice.
Well, everyone go check out Matt and Decayin with the Boys. We'll put links in the show notes so you can find them easily. And thank you so much for joining us,
Yeah,
Matt.
Thanks a lot, man.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it again. And I love Fuck My Work Life podcast, and everyone else should too.
Thank you so much. All right. Bye, fuckers.
Bye, fuckers.
Bye, fuckers.
Thank you for joining our afternoon break. If you have a workplace story, email it to fmwlpod@gmail.com or call our rant line at 310-818-3273.
Please follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss out on new episodes. And if you're enjoying the show, take a moment to rate and review.
You can find us on all the socials at FMWL Pod. come say hello and check out all our amazing indie podcast friends. Until next time,
Bye, fuckers.
I don't know about you, but with a busy work schedule, I never have time to sit down and read. Luckily, there's Newsly. Newsly is an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android. It picks up articles about the most trending topics on the web and reads them to you in a natural human voice. For the first time ever, the entire web becomes listenable, all in one place. You can browse articles from topics you choose and just start playing. Follow specific topics from sports, tech, business, science, or Bitcoin. Newsly will find you the latest articles and read them aloud. They even have digital radio. And do you want to know the best part? They have podcasts. Explore trending podcasts from over 80 countries. And you can find our podcast, Fuck My Work Life, there too. Download and try Newsly for free by visiting www.newsly.me or clicking on the link in our show notes. And be sure to use promo code FWL for a 1-month free premium subscription. Stop scrolling and start listening with Newsly.